My name is Cacos. I'm the president and CEO of Blue Sky Uranium Corp. And our company is focused in Argentina, where we have a very unique uranium project. Unlike our other exploration junior peers out there, what we have discovered in Argentina is not just a new uranium deposit, but a new uranium district, a district that has the size and scale to rival like some of these low-cost deposits that you find in Kazakhstan, which, by the way, produce the largest amount of uranium in the world, with some of the lowest operating costs. So we have an opportunity here to discover a new uranium find that can have a world-class size and rank amongst the lowest operating costs. So a very exciting opportunity in this space.
Nico, thank you very much for the introduction. Nice to meet you. Here we are at the end of 2022. It's been a pretty brutal year in the junior resources space. Most companies have sold off. We've seen a bit of weakness in the uranium space. The Blue Sky uranium share prices being hammered like the rest of them. But this comes on the back of a particularly tough lockdown in pandemic in Argentina. Can you just kind of perhaps recap what it's been like for the last couple of years?
Yes. First of all, yes, all the uranium space stocks have indeed pulled back, but I think the one thing to keep in mind is that the actual price of uranium continues to hover around $50 a pound. So it continues to stay strong because the demand for the underlying commodity that we're exploring for still remains strong. So that's what gives us a lot of confidence to continue with our ongoing exploration programs. Now, just
to interrupt, that's the spot price, which is somewhere between 47 and 50. But actually, the contract prices are coming through higher than that as well. So, absolutely, the underlying trend, the fundamentals of the uranium market are absolutely solid. Yeah.
Yes, they are. That's right. The long-term price, which is where most utilities contract to buy uranium, remains elevated as well, usually 30 to 40% higher than the spot price. But with us, what has happened in the last few years, besides seeing the price of uranium come up, is the pandemic, of course, in Argentina had very severe, very strong lockdowns. We couldn't even get our workers to travel between provinces, so it's basically delayed the work that we've been doing. And that's been a bit of a setback for us, and it's delayed us also being able to get permits for the various targets that we've got. But in the last year, though, I'm happy to say that we have embarked on our drilling campaign. We've been successfully able to complete drilling our Ivana deposit, where we currently have just under 23 million pounds of uranium and 11.5 million pounds of vanadium. And we had twofold objective there. One was to drill in between drill holes so that we can tighten up and improve the quality of the resource, the category of the resource that we've got there, and also to step out and to see, is there room for expansion for the Ivana deposit? And I'm pleased to say, as we've reported results on this, we've been successful on both counts.
How many meters did you drill on the infill, and how many meters did you drill on the kind of the step outs, or just in total?
In total, it was around 3,000 meters, and it may not sound like a lot, but because this deposit lies from surface within the first 25 meters of the surface, 3,000 meters buys actually a lot of drill holes. So that's going to move on to next year, and I'll talk about that. We're going to do a new resource calculation to update that. And then, of course, there are targets. We've already been able to identify 4 targets that rest within a 30-kilometer radius of the Ivana deposit. And these targets exhibit a lot of geological similarities to the current deposit that we have. So we've been able to launch a parallel drill program to drill all these, and for some of them we're just starting to get permits coming in. So that's why we've had ongoing financings that we've been able to announce to ensure that these drill programs are seen through to completion.
And is that a separate drill total or drill budget from the 3,000 meters at Ivana? So how much are you doing? How much are you allocated to the wider exploration?
Probably approximately another 3,000 meters.
And these are also shallow, kind of paleo channel deposits within sandstone. So I mean,
that's right. So that's right. That's exactly the target. We're targeting within the first 25 or 30 meters from surface. There's also potential for deposits to lie at depth, much deeper than that. However, that's more expensive, and that's to come later on after we establish some economics on the surface. But within the first 25 meters of surface, we think it's a cheap and effective way for us to get out and find the low-lying fruit, so to speak.
And the plan in the PEA was because you published a PEA in 2019.
Yes.
And the plan on that was open pit mining, was it?
It's open pit, but it's more akin to a gravel operation or a sand operation, because the ground there is unconsolidated. So you can just come in with a digger, you can scoop up the dirt basically, and we put it through a two-step process, a very simple two-step process. The mineralization that contains the uranium is contained in the fine dust particles, so we can put it through a screen and wet scrub it and remove all the large unmineralized pebbles, thereby concentrating the amount of volume that we need to work with approximately 4 times. And then we put that through a basic alkaline leaching program, which is sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate. Extremely benign from an environmental point of view and extremely cheap. So there's no blasting required or anything like that. And that's what the PEA actually found, that this, the potential economics for a deposit like Ivana can produce a pound of uranium for, approximately just over $16 a pound, putting it amongst the lowest cost producers in the world.
And that dusting, it's the carnotite. Is that the yellow carnotite? Is that right? That kind of forms from the outside.
That's right. It's yellow carnotite. It's a uranium vanadium mineral,
and it forms on the outside of it coats on the outside of pebbles and stones, and so.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Interesting. And I'm a geologist. I'm sorry, I didn't want to go down the too technical side of things, but
I'm not a geologist, so don't trip me up, please.
But just wondering, about your exploration tools. I mean, is it easy? Was it a lot of work to generate these other 4 targets, or was it kind of a relatively simple process to vector in on these 4 other targets?
It was relatively quite simple, because there's a surficial expression of the carnotite, so we could, our geologists were very easily be able to identify that, and then they looked for other geological features that were also common in our Ivana deposit, and then we used geophysics were a big help as well to help identify these old paleo channels, and then after that we dig some pits, hand pits, because it's cheap and it's simple to do, and then we embark on a drill program. The whole idea, of course, is to find additional deposits, within our existing deposit, and to be able to run this operation like a hub and spoke type operation.
Yes, got it. I mean, you've got 22.7 million pounds at, I think it's 387 ppm. Uranium. I guess if you can scrub, and if the processing is low cost, you can work that up, and presumably the peripheries are lower grade. I mean, presumably you start at the heart of the anomaly and kind of have worked out. Is that what you've seen? Is that the kind of the stuff on the edges, the periphery that you've been drilling out this year, has been marginal, or is it too early to tell?
overall in the deposit, the Ivana deposit, it's like that. But then we also did some step out holes at 1.5 kilometers outside of the deposit, and we got higher values there as well. So it can be a little erratic.
Okay, so that's where you got the 1500 ppm over whatever it was, a few meters.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
And while these numbers may seem very low grade compared to some of the values that you hear coming out of Saskatchewan, I think our values are very much more akin to a different type of deposit that doesn't need these high grade values in order to render it economic. I mean, you look at Kazakhstan, where there's Inkai deposit there that's over 240 million pounds of uranium, and it grades at 0.03%, exactly the kind of grade that we're getting at Ivana.
Oh, I'm a great believer in metallurgy.
Yes.
Head grade is one thing, but metallurgy and the ease of processing can transform the economics.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've been looking at a tin deposit which has got a very low grade, but it separates like a charm. It liberates, and if this if Ivana does the same thing, then the grade really isn't an issue at all. Although, of course, it would be really, really helpful to wrap around some new economics on that. When you mentioned going to an updated PEA during the course of next year. What do you think are the key things that are going to have changed? Do you think that, every project I look at is having kind of capex inflation. Equally, there's a 2-year higher price, and so, hopefully you've got a slightly bigger resource. But what are the are those the three key changes, or is there anything else that's going to come up over time?
Well, we're looking at, yes, like you stated, we are looking at potentially a larger resource. We are, that's going to change. We're also looking to move a lot of our resources from inferred to indicated. In fact, most of the drilling that we'd done before was close enough, but we took a very conservative approach in publishing it all as inferred. But I think now with the additional infill drilling, it'll be indicated. And then the other thing is that the price of uranium, when we did the last PEA, the price of uranium that we used was $50, and that was in a $20 uranium spot market. Today, the spot market is at $50, and a lot of the new PFS studies and PEA studies are ranging in around $65. Now, that $15 difference could have a substantial impact on a low-cost uranium deposit like Ivana. So it's updating the PEA, and also there's been ongoing metallurgical work that happens at the Saskatchewan Research Council, headed by our consultant there, Chuck Edwards, who's one of the foremost metallurgists. He was with Cameco for many, many years, their chief chief metallurgist there. And so we're going to incorporate that, and so there's a potential for the cost to come down a little bit more. There's also a potential, for a higher valuation overall and have a better quality deposit here.
Excellent. Now all of this needs funding. Where are you? You're doing. The news shows that you're doing a capital raise at the moment. Is that you're raising a couple of $1 million, 1.8 or something? Is that going to be enough to take you through 2023, or are you going to kind of do it piecemeal, kind of get some news out, hope for the market response, and then do it stepwise?
Yeah, we're going to do the latter. Given we want to be minimize dilution as much as possible for current shareholders. We're doing a fundraise now, and despite a general aversion to equities in the market, we're still seeing an excellent response because we've almost doubled the size of the funding that we announced. We're getting a great response from investors, but we want to ensure that we have enough funding to complete the ongoing drill programs and the exploration programs, and there also will be enough money to complete the PEA. And upon these are going to be different milestones. I think as we put out drill results, they have a potential to affect our market valuation. I think that an updated PEA also has that potential because it could also attract more institutional investors. And then at that point, we'd be looking to do a higher fundraise, because then I would like to see this project move towards a pre-feasibility study. at the end of which we can begin to contemplate a production decision.
And this round, are you doing it with largely from the existing shareholder base? Because I mean that's very much the theme of 2022. Is you go back and you tap up your existing supporters, your existing shareholders.
Yeah, our shareholders have been long-term investors and long-term supporters of our company, and as has management. So we do put our money in there and continue to support it. I mean, management owns about 40% of the outstanding shares. Management and friends and family and insiders. So we do put our money where our mouth is. Our overhead costs are extremely low, and we tend to put like 85% of the funds that we raise right into the market, right into the ground in exploration. So we do believe that we're onto something quite significant here, but I think we need to develop this to the next level before it begins to catch some traction with the general market.
Yeah, interesting. And tell me about, if you will, the state you're in Argentina. Financial controls and foreign exchange, and attitude to mining, in particular attitude to uranium, because it's a very different beast to any kind of other mining.
Yeah, well, contrary to what most preconceptions about Argentina, I can say that to have a new deposit like this, there probably could not happen in a better country. Argentina is a nuclear country that most investors don't understand. Argentina has been in nuclear business almost as long as the United States has, since the 1950s. They have a very well developed nuclear industry. They're involved in every facet of the nuclear industry, including besides having nuclear reactors, they have pilot enrichment plants. They've got research centers. They manufacture and export assisting putting together small modular reactors. And in fact, the state in which the province rather in which we are operating in, province of Rio Negro, is also very supportive of nuclear development. They own what we call here in Canada a Crown Corporation, or a state-owned company, which is a nuclear research center. And in fact, the pilot enrichment plant is only a couple hundred kilometers away from our province. This is from our deposit, sorry. So it is. We're seeing an excellent understanding. All the regulatory framework for handling and moving nuclear materials is already in place in Argentina and within the province. So these are the kind of things that can cause, if they're not in place, can cause big delays when a production decision is made to go forward into production. So this is this sets a path for a very quick potential to go into production, but also for a better understanding overall in terms of working with a uranium mine. Now, secondly, in terms of the financial controls and whatnot, we've been active in Argentina for 30 years, and I've worked with different discoveries that we've made there and in various sister companies. In fact, it was only a few years ago that we took a discovery all the way into production in partnership with SSR Mining, and that's never been an issue for us, because Argentina in general, irrespective of the flavor of government that's in charge, always seems to have a constant theme in its hard, fast support for mining, because they recognize that the development of mining is a great way to generate revenues that the country sorely needs. So whether it's a left-wing government or a right-wing government, that has been a consistent theme, and I expect that to continue.
It's so important being able to work in a country. My goodness. Yeah, absolutely. And uranium's a particularly emotive subject for many countries. Is there any domestic production in Argentina?
Right now, there is no domestic production in Argentina. In fact, our deposit ranks as the most advanced and largest deposit in Argentina. There is potential in other provinces, but we don't see that coming to fruition anytime soon. I mean, one of the provinces is Mendoza, but because that's a wine country, that's akin to putting a uranium mine in Napa Valley. I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Good. I can imagine that they would be supportive of that if they do. I mean, Argentina's got nuclear plants and is planning more. So I could imagine that the idea of vertical integration and using their own uranium must appeal.
Very much so. In fact, there is a law in Argentina that when there is domestic uranium available, nuclear plants are compelled to buy domestic supply first before seeking out importing supply of uranium, and that has to be done at world prevailing prices. Right now, Argentina imports all their uranium needs. They buy most of it. It comes from Kazakhstan, and they pay a real premium to that because they need to make long-term commitments, 10-year contracts, and these contracts now are coming up for expiration in the next few years. And I think it's setting up a company like Blue Sky very well for a potential opportunity here to be a supplier of uranium for the country of Argentina, and then in a position, of course, to be a net exporter after that.
Fantastic! What a good kind of background. Now, clearly, the key next step is to get from an updated PEA through the drill results and to get that pre-feasibility study done, which must be the kind of the target for 2023. So, when are you gonna wrap up the financing? Are you gonna be able to get it done before Christmas and then have a break and then go at it again?
That's right. We expect to wrap up the financing before Christmas and then complete all our exploration work probably by March. And then after that, begin the desktop studies of the PEA, updating the PEA, and then looking at all the results and everything together, and then using that as a launching pad for embarking onto a PFS.
Excellent. So, presumably in that mix, there'll be an updated mineral resource estimate as well. So, presumably sometime.
Yes, as part of the PEA, that it would include a mineral resource estimate with new potential economics as well.
Well, great. Thank you very much for spending the time with me today. I look forward to perhaps reconnecting with that new technical report, the resource and the PEA. I think that'll be a really useful time to rejoin the conversation. And good luck.
I agree.
Good luck in the interim.
Great. Thank you very much.